You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com. Found TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. In just a few minutes, we'll be right with you with another award-winning, action-packed edition of your Tony Basilio Show. Get five.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
T to the B, welcome you to another edition. Brian Hartman, are you excited to visit with Alberto Ozuna on the program today here on our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday? Rice fans.
Yeah, I want to hear his story.
It's going to be...
And just all the whirlwind that he's been through the last several months.
It's going to be unbelievable, Andy. It is going to be unbelievable, Andy. So, and if Cinco figures it out, Cinco, the wizard of technology, he's a wizard of a word, that's what I heard. But anything else would be quite absurd. If he can figure it out, he'll jump in here with us. As we've got a new platform that we're interfacing through, it's a 2025 thing. You just had to be there. In the meantime, we're going to come back on the other side and get Alberto Ozuna in here and get the party. Hey, Brian, what do you think of these NBA playoffs so far? Nobody's winning in their own building. How weird is this, man?
Don't think I've seen anything quite like it. Cleveland does not win championships. No Cleveland sports team is going to win a championship unless LeBron James is on the roster.
That's correct.
Because that's fact. They are cursed other than when LeBron James is on that roster. And even sometimes then, they would lose when you wouldn't think so.
And still,
that doesn't surprise me. I think the Celtics, they're going to get, some team at home is going to win, so it might as well be them, be the first one.
No, Brian, it might as well not be them. We might as well continue this. I was with the great Jim Wright last night, who's not really a big, sports person. He said, I love you sports people because when somebody's not going well, you say they're due. But then when they're hot, you say they're hot. He said, which is it? And I said, Jim, I've never thought about that. But I want to shout out it's a great point, isn't it, Brian? Cinco's in the house. I want to shout out the lawn carriers, the mail carriers everywhere. Last night we had a chance to visit with them up at the Elks Lodge and do the kickoff there, and they're extremely receptive. Our goal around Knox County and around the area is over 100,000 pounds of canned goods, and we're just asking you to please do your part. And so if you're listening to me, even if you haven't gotten a yellow bag from them, you might have one. Marcos Garza sponsored that. He kicked in several $1,000s for them to purchase these bags. But even if you didn't get one of those, I would encourage you just to lay some canned goods out Friday, and then you can do it through the weekend, and you can even do it on Monday or Tuesday of next week. They'll be collecting through midweek next week. But great event last night. Great people. It was great seeing everybody up at the Elks Club, and so it was good stuff. And I've always been a fan of the Edmonton Elks as well. And Sean Sinclair, are you fired up, folks, and prepared for what's about to happen here?
I am, and if you can hear me, then this is the biggest miracle. Because
loud and proud. Not only can I hear you, but you sound
this idiot somehow the Lord brought me to this group, and now I'm on here because I was panicking. I had no clue how to do this.
And thank you, Lord. And here I thought Tyrese Halliburton performed a sports miracle last night. 2 sports miracles in less than 24 hours. You got to love it. Not only that, but the baseball team hit some home runs last night. Another sports miracle. I'll take them where I can get them. And then there's Sean Sinclair. And we continue with more on the other side right after this.
Why is it so stuffy in here? Don't tell me the AC's broken again. No matter the season, a broken air conditioner or HVAC system is a nightmare. And with warm weather here to stay, it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before summer's heat arrives. If you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limon. Muchas gracias, limon. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. You know, life's a funny thing as we welcome you back at 865-200-5402. Please hold your phone calls because we're visiting now on our World Champs Wednesday. It is Alberto Ozuna joining us on the program, and we're going to get to know him better. This is a guy that we thought was going to come in this year and, you know, play and provide all kinds of power, and you just never know. And Rather and Kittrell Capital Management are there for that reason as well. Start planning. Make smart money decisions through life's transitions. rkcapital.com online. Alberto Ozuna, you and I were just talking off the air, and I welcome you in, my friend. And, you know, the first thing I started with when I was talking with you is, man, I'm really sorry. And I know Tony is as well. And us as Tennessee people are really sorry that this has occurred. It's a tough deal. As I welcome you in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And the first thing I have to say is, well, Ball Nation has been unbelievable. And they've been amazing in this whole process, just helping me out, taking me in as family. So I just really appreciate all everything everybody has done for me.
You know, the guys on the team love you. They call you Berto, and I wouldn't dare call you that, but they call you that, and they love you. And what I hear about you is you've stayed engaged behind the scenes. You take BP. You, when they've needed you to do whatever, you've done whatever you can to stay as engaged as possible. How challenging has just that whole side of this thing been for you?
Right. I mean, at first, like thinking I'm going to have the chance to play for a great team, to then switch over to a different role. I mean, obviously at first it's a little tough, but I think it was just kind of like getting a grasp of it. And at the end of the day, I came to Tennessee for one thing, and that's to help this team win a national championship again. And you know, like if I can't do it on the field exactly, anything I can do off the field to help that is exactly what I'm gonna do. That's the reason I'm here, and the reason I decided to come here was to help win. And that's the small things that I can do to help. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, we were talking before we jumped on that this has been a pretty bizarre season. I mean, that first of all, the tailspin that this club is in with the talent they have is pretty bizarre. The rain delay game at LSU and just that whole thing and the time it ended and just, you know, the way all that went down was pretty bizarre. But, man, this thing with Auburn over the weekend, now you've been around the sport a long time. You're a veteran player. I'm sure you played hundreds of games, tons of tournaments, the whole deal coming up. Have you ever been through anything like that?
It was definitely one of the wackiest weekends that I could remember, and in kind of like plain sight, like with LSU playing so late, it honestly reminded me kind of like a travel ball. Whenever you had to get the game in, and you're playing at like Lake Point, and you just finish playing at like 1 or 2 in the morning, then you have to get up and play the next day. You know, it was definitely just. It hasn't in my college career hasn't really happened in that manner where like such as Auburn, we literally had to start and stop both games, both the Friday and Saturday games, and then finish them the next day. And then obviously the only regular game that we kind of had was the Sunday game, but even that one was a 7-inning game. So just kind of a crazy weekend for sure.
I was asking you, you know, baseball's a strange game because you guys have to deal with the elements, but not only that, you have to deal with long delays. So what is the longest delay in your career, Alberto, you can remember? Tell me a story here. Share a story with me.
Yeah, I would say probably, I wouldn't say it was the longest, but the craziest delay I've ever had was in the 22 Supers. We were playing Arkansas at home and had 2 separate lightning delays and rain delays in the same game. It was I'm pretty sure it was game 2. And I mean, that was just probably one of the crazier things. And obviously I've been through a lot of rain delays, a lot of waiting, and honestly, I feel like it's just, even though it didn't go our way that day, it's kind of something that we can kind of put in our toolbox, because I can promise you at some point it'll come up in the postseason. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I feel like these past 2 weekends have kind of prepared us for that.
Yeah, the game is played at a time of the year where the weather jumps, you know, and every once in a while. And the crazy thing about Friday, Alberto, is a lot of times you'll get these weather delays where they'll say there's lightning in the area and you don't see anything. And you're going, what are we doing here, man? I mean, is this where we are as a society? But then the other night, like at first pitch, could you believe, like, hey, this game is starting? Because it was literally, the water was just falling out of the sky at that point.
No, right. I mean, it was definitely crazy. I wasn't sure with the turf. I've honestly never had a home field that was been on turf, so I didn't know if we were gonna just be able to play just in turf. Like, water doesn't really sit that much on it, but obviously that rain was pretty. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, tell me this: when you play, right, in a driving rain, who has the advantage, the hitter or the pitcher? Because I'm watching that first inning, and obviously that ball did not get out. Now we see that on the replay. But walk me through, before we go through that first inning home run on Friday night, because that had to be one of the more bizarre scenes you've ever seen. But before we go there, who has the advantage here? You're a slugger. If it's in a driving rain, can you see the ball?
It's tough to say who has the advantage because it's pretty close to a normal or like it's pretty equal because the pitcher is struggling to get grip. I mean, Liam, the first thing he said was that throw in there that was probably one of the harder things that he had to do. And then hitting wise, I mean, you have no grip at all. Obviously, like the rain is dripping off of your helmet. You can't hold it back. I've never tried to pitch in the rain, so I couldn't tell you how hard that is. I could imagine it's pretty hard just picking up a ball and trying to throw it and it's flipping out of your hand. Like that's really easy to do when it's raining that hard.
All right,
I've only experienced the hitting part, and that part's pretty hard. Just trying to keep your hands dry, trying to have a grip. I mean, we saw a guy lose his bat pretty quickly there, and I feel like if that game would have went on, you would have seen a record amount of that happening.
Yeah, and some people think that's done for effect. I happen to play the sport, and when you grab a wet bat, we used to play, like when you're a kid, you play in all kinds of elements. Hell, if it's raining outside, it's fun. When you're a kid, hey, it's raining, and we can get to grab. But when you can't grab a bat, it's very dangerous. I mean, that bat can fly out of your hands at any second, really. So tell me this. You guys are sitting in the dugout. That ball is hit to the outfield. It's raining so hard you can't see. Could you guys see the ball from the dugout? Because a lot of people were surprised Tony and staff didn't challenge that, but it's hard to challenge something you can't see. Walk me through that.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, it was pretty tough to see. At first, honestly, I was surprised he hit it. Once he hit it, I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe it. And then it just kind of carried way more than we expected, especially with the rain being down that hard. I never expected the ball to carry that far. And then, yeah, honestly, like we couldn't really make out to what it hit, like where it was. Honestly, like it was once it got to the outfield, it was pretty hard to see it.
Alberto Ozuna joining. You are, I can tell you're a very bright person. Tony's told me that. And as I told you, he feels kind of heartbroken for what happened. You told me off the air, you said, look, a lot of worse things have happened to people. This is part of God's plan for me. It kind of is what it is at this point. But you also seem like an introspective young man, so you've had a chance to see the game now from a different side because you know you're not going to play. Give me a couple things just this season that you've kind of learned sort of along the way as, for this year. You talk about things to put in your toolbox going forward, but give me a couple of lessons maybe or things about the game that you've learned to appreciate from the spot you're in right now.
Right. I think it's definitely just being able to kind of like understand it from both sides. Like I see moves that Coach Vitello, and like I feel like as a player, you aren't 100%. Like you don't completely understand it. Like you trust in what they're doing, but it's easier whenever you're not you're not necessarily playing, but you're just there like analyzing. Like different things make a lot of sense, and like there's. Whenever like a player thinks about something, a coach has thought about it 10 or 20 times already. So I feel like it's definitely like the amount of work and trust that coaches build over the span of games of whenever you see a situation happen, like it might not go that way, but they've already planned it out. They've already thought it through. And like that is from all the research and from all the scouting that they've done, like that will be the best decision to help this team win. I feel like that has definitely been a little more pronounced now that I'm away, like not being able to play. Because obviously when you're playing, you're just focused on competing. Like how can I help the team win in a competing manner? But I've definitely learned that how big it is, like the preparation that coaches do to just to be able for the players just to play, and like you don't have to, we never have to worry about any of that stuff. Also, just like different ways to get guys ready, whether that's defensively, offensively, just different manners that I really like. How it's just a lot of hard work, and it's a little bit easier now, not being necessarily in the fire competing, seeing all that the stuff happen. I can appreciate it a little bit more.
Alberto Ozuna, delightful conversation we're having with him. It's presented by our friends at Rather and Kittrell, RK Capital. .com and talking about, I mean, obviously you've had a very storied career. You've been with programs that have gone to the show, so to speak, in that sport. And from that perspective, when Tennessee first came on your radar and you decided to come here, give me some of the differences that you've seen inside Tennessee's program, or maybe things that have surprised you. Anything from that perspective?
I would say any great program that you see in the country, you'll see a lot of similarities. I will say it's a lot of hard work that all the players and coaches put in this program. That's just, I think, what makes the backbone of this program is how hard they work and how much they want to win. And I just feel like you could see it from afar. They're going to compete. They're not scared at all.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome just being able to be on this side and be able to just learn and truly and like see how different ways to win is what I'm trying to say. I've been lucky. I've been a part of 4 great programs in college. All of them have a knack to win. They all find ways to win, and every single one has a little bit of a different twist to it. But for the most part, the same foundation is there of what needs to be done to win. And it really is cool, the journey that I've been able to go on and just learn different ways and different manners that all kind of lead to the same path of having success in the sport.
Alberto Ozuna joining. Yesterday we had Tennessee's tennis coach, Chris Woodruff, on. His guys are getting ready to play in the Sweet 16 for the right to advance to the national quarterfinal, which is the goal of a lot of programs in that sport. He was telling me that through the years he's gotten to know Rick Barnes real well, Tennessee's basketball coach, and he says, the thing I've learned about him or learned from him is that after a win, after a loss, after a 6-game winning streak, after a 3-game losing streak, he said his countenance is basically the same. It's hard to tell from one practice to the other. Like, in other words, it's just about process. And I was listening to Tony the other day, because a lot of people have this misconception of Tony, like, oh man, is he going to say something after this game and explode and sort of go off and his team's not playing well and they're not. But he was just very process oriented. He was like, we didn't make the plays. We didn't hit runners in scoring position. It wasn't like he was in like go off mode. Has that surprised you?
I will say that it has surprised me a lot. I would say if you Coach Vitello, just talking to him like a normal human being, he's just a relaxed guy. Like it's completely different than whenever he gets in that compete mode. It's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, like flipping the switch. Like,
oh yeah,
he flips the switch whenever, and like the Tony Vitello that you'll see on the field isn't always. It's not exactly what you think would be off the field. Like he's a lot more relaxed. Like he's thinking a lot, and he thinks through things a lot. And the one reason I think that people will see him kind of like just get angry and kind of that personality come out is just how much he wants to win and how much he has our backs. I mean, never have you really heard anybody say anything bad about the program or anything. That's a credit to Coach Vitello, Coach Helander, and all the coaches that have just built this program from the ground up. They just really have their players' backs and just want what's best for their players and want what's best for this program. And I think that part is just incredible. And Coach V is he's a laid back guy whenever you actually like get to meet him and talk to him. And I think that's why whenever you say that, like, it is a lot about the process. And I feel like you've seen every team that wins a national championship, they win it in a different manner. It's never the same exact oh, like this happened throughout the regular season, like this is why they won. Like you've seen it where in the Ole Miss, the last team to get in, and they're the team that wins it. You've seen obviously that Tennessee last year with number 1 overall, they won the whole regular season and win it all. Like it can, once it gets to the postseason, it can literally be anybody. So I feel like that's just sticking to the process is a huge thing, and just continually trying to get better every single day, because when it truly counts is in the postseason.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I think just taking obviously it's tough punches to take during the regular season, but I feel like it's taking these, and as long as we take them as lessons and use them to our advantage, I feel like it'll end up exactly how we want to. So I feel like that's why Coach Vitale is so great at kind of being even keel and just because he knows that in the postseason it's a whole different animal, and it takes a lot to win, and it doesn't matter. You could be the number 1 seed and lose your first 2 games and you're home. You know,
it's a crazy sport. It's totally random. And college baseball is even worse because the ball can bounce. You know, and you get the imperfections of fielding that kind of sneak into the game. Is joining us on the TLD Logistics Hotlines, Alberto Ozuna, who's exactly right. And this is a veteran player that's played a lot of baseball in a lot of spots. And a lot of people think that this Tennessee season's over because they're used to seeing this Tennessee team. You know, the Kentucky Derby was just run. They're used to seeing this team lap the field. When Alberto, the way this program has played in the last 4 or 5 years, that's not reality. That's not how the game goes generally. It's just not.
And it's really not at all. If you see any of the teams that have success, or any of the teams that you see make deep runs in the postseason, their season isn't just all perfect. You know, like
yep.
There's bumps in the road. There's a lot of trials, even like within games or practice, injuries. Like there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that I feel like is what makes a team great in the postseason. And at the end of the day, it's about how you play then when that really matters. But again, like what I said before, like whatever happens in the regular season, like obviously you want to play as well as you can the whole season, but at some point there is going to be a tough stretch, and it's how you respond to that tough stretch and use that as your lessons to help you later in the season.
We're visiting with a really delightful young man, Alberto Ozuna. I can see why. Tony was talking that you might have coaching aspirations in the future. You are a very, 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 very bright young person, as we're pleased to be joined by Alberto Ozuna on the program. Brian Hartman, jump in here with Alberto Ozuna on our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management World Champs Wednesday. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, Alberto, thank you for coming on with us. It's been well documented that this team has gone through some struggles recently. And as you try to get into coaching, have you been able to offer some advice to some players that have been sort of in a hitting slump, maybe with men on base, perhaps some players who've made some untimely errors here and there? And could that help you as you try to get into coaching on down the road?
Right. I mean, for the most part, it's just part of kind of being a leader. I was lucky to, obviously being an older guy at UNC as well, just kind of being a leader and just helping out where it's needed. Like, you never know, like, what a guy is going through or, like, what's going through his mind. I think it's just going up to guys and just, like, finding a way to make them smile, or just, like, tell them, like, hey, you're okay. Like, I've had a longer career, and I've had my ups, my downs, but I think it's like once you realize that one at bat doesn't dictate who you are.
Yep.
And if you can strike out one at bat, what's going to happen the next at bat? Like it's a whole different at bat. Like you can hit a home run, you can strike out, you can hit a line drive. Like one at bat doesn't dictate what the next is going to happen. So I feel like it's just keeping guys in good spirits is really like kind of, I feel like, what my role has taken me into right now, and just staying positive. I mean, it's easy. This is big game of failure, so it's easy to get down. It's easy to, oh no, like we're not hitting well with runners in scoring positions. But like we've also seen the latter side of us being phenomenal with runners in scoring positions. Honestly, like with this team, like we're in scoring position once we get up to the plate. So I think it's just kind of trying to stay even, like not being too up or too down, because being too up also can hurt you as well. So I think it's just whenever guys seem down, just go up, talk to them, just kind of help them out in that manner. And just, I mean, we're all pulling the same way. We know that no one's going to go out there and try to fail. But obviously it's easy to get down. It's a game of failure again. So it's easy to get down, but it's just kind of talking to guys about that, like just trying to keep them in high spirits and realize that nothing that happens you can change. What you can do is have a better mentality as you go forward.
When you knew this team was kind of scuffling offensively, when they were having trouble, and I'm sure you noticed this as well from your perch watching up close, but when these guys were having trouble in these midweek games, putting at bats together, which is really when you ought to feast and have some fun, and then that's also when you, as you know, when you grow your young players. But I think it was real important. I want your thoughts on this for some of the veteran guys to see the ball go out of the park last night. I think that was really important with this Vandy series upcoming. You have a thought on that?
I completely agree. I thought we swung the bat phenomenal yesterday. It is kind of crazy because when you see our preparation and all of our pregame things, they're phenomenal, and we're ready to play. And it's just sometimes baseball's a hard sport, and it just doesn't exactly go your way. Maybe you're pressing a little bit. I think yesterday was great. I mean, Chappie had a great swing yesterday. Huge for him. Just
sure did.
From a confidence aspect. Gavin, 2 great swings, and then also a bullet up the middle. Fisher as well, and Newey, a young guy coming off the bench. In the post, at the end of the year, it's going to take everybody, and we all know that. And so just him coming off the bench like that, tough first 2 pitches, and then doing what he does. I mean, that was incredible. And I do think, especially that being a good Indiana State team, that was great to kind of get the guys rolling a little bit.
You mentioned Chris Newstrom there, who you refer to as Newey. Some of these young guys, we saw Levi Clark flash earlier in the year. We had the Grimmer kid on last week, who every time he's at the bat, in these games where he gets the opportunities, he hammers baseballs, and he's living on base. And give me your sense of some of the young guys, and because it's the one thing Tony's been able to do is he's got these guys. I don't know how he does it, but he's got these guys that come in as freshmen, and then in year 2 they flash, and then in year 3 they explode. Sometimes in year 2 they explode. Give me your sense of what's there. Some of the guys we haven't seen. Or maybe some of these guys you've mentioned, but just the futures you think that could be in store for them.
No, right. I mean, it's definitely a lot of freshmen with incredible talent. And there's Levi, Jay, Manny, Newey. The list goes on. They all just kind of walk in with a presence. They know that obviously with college baseball, the lineups get switched up a lot, and they see it. So I feel like they do a phenomenal job of being prepared. Of whenever their name is called, they're in there, and they're present, and they're ready to go after it. And I feel like that's really hard for a freshman to do, is kind of play with that confidence and knowing they don't really get fazed by anything, and they obviously sometimes they probably look at the lineup sheet, don't see their name, yeah, it sucks, but then they can help contribute in different manners. And then when their name is called, they are ready. And I think what people don't realize is how hard that is not knowing whether or not you're going to be able to play or not. And then when your name gets called, to be ready. It's a credit to them. I mean, I honestly, this is the most freshmen that I've seen with this much talent ever. I think so. It truly has been special what those guys can do, and it's a credit to the coaches that they keep them ready, kind of giving them the action in the midweeks and some pinch hits in the weekends, just kind of getting them ready. And again, like at the end of the year, it's going to take everybody, and there's going to be a guy at the bottom of that lineup sheet that is in the game that day that's going to help us win a game in the postseason and just honestly in the regular season. Like it takes everybody. So I feel like it's really cool to see those guys as freshmen. Like they're not really playing like freshmen. Like they're not scared at all and going after it, because that at the end of the year will help us.
You know, the funny thing is too, like, I think about baseball, and you keep talking about the postseason, which is really what this thing's about. It's the process points you toward, you want to be playing your best baseball, and certainly this Tennessee team has not realized their full potential, whatever that is. Who knows? But you would think that when you have that much talent on your roster, at some point you're going to wake up and a switch is going to be thrown and you can be back to what you were at the beginning of the year rather than the scuffling bunch, sort of what's gone on here recently. But we all know it's a sport that is kind of humbling. They saw a few shots go in last night, as we say in basketball. So maybe when you make a few plays. But, you know, the one thing that's always stood with me about baseball from the time I was a little kid, and you watch enough of this sport, it's your deep bench guys in the postseason that a lot of times determine whether or not you advance through a round. I don't care if you're talking high school baseball, college baseball, you watch Major League Baseball. You know, sometimes it's player 25, 26, 23, 24 on one of these rosters that has to get in there and either a pinch hit or has to get a crucial out for you on the mound. I've always thought that's a real interesting aspect of that sport. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, at one point I saw that at North Carolina in a super regional. One of my good buddies, Pat Alvarez, comes off the bench against Arkansas, against Hagen Smith, and hasn't gotten that bat in like 2 months, but just stuck in there, and he comes up with a big hit to tie the game, and I think it was like the 9th inning. I mean, it truly is. It's cool to see how much it matters to just have guys like stay ready, have guys locked in, and because you never know when your name will be called. If you're not in the lineup that day, you never know.
And it's so difficult, right? It is so difficult to sit there cold or, you know, whatever it is. Like a lot of times it'll be somebody who, hey, we're up against it. We're in like a 13-11 game, and we got to call some guy out, and the fans are holding their breath. They're going, this guy's never going to be able to get these 3 outs, or get this guy here, or, you know, you're out of pitchers, whatever it is, and yet that person steps up and does their job. I mean, it's a really, really great. It's one of my favorite things about baseball. It's a complete team game. You focus on stars, but at the end of the day, it's really a complete team game.
No, right. I couldn't agree more. And I feel like you'll especially see that happen where a guy goes out there, goes in for a pinch hit, or just goes in the pitch. Whenever it usually happens to guys that are pulling so hard for their teammates all year, and then it's like, hey, like, we really need you here. That's whenever those are the guys that usually come out as, I don't know if the right word is heroes, but they end up having success in those spots, is the guys that are truly pulling in the right direction, just helping their team out in any manner that they can.
The incomparable Alberto Ozuna, the guy they call Berto, man, it's been incredible visiting with you today. No wonder this whole thing with the NCAA has gotten to Tony the way that it has. You're such a delightful guy, man. All the stuff they said about you is true. Sean Sinclair wants to jump in here. Do you have to run, Berto, or are you okay with the time? Because we've kept you for a while here. You're such a delightful guy, man. Do you got to run? You tell me if you do.
No, I'm good on time.
All right, okay. Sean Sinclair, jump in here with Alberto Ozuna, who's giving us a longer longer time than we usually take, but he's such a well-spoken kind of wealth of knowledge here. Sean Sinclair, jump in.
Well, Berto, thanks so much for taking the time. I enjoyed your visit with Austin Price on the Vol Club Confidential. It really, they do a nice job of presenting the person and everything that I saw there. You are, whether you're on the diamond or not, as a Vol graduate, I'm glad you're in the Tennessee uniform, and you will be a VFL for life. So thank you for that. I wanted to ask you this. If you take it, I've been a lifelong baseball fan. If you take a look at the Major League Baseball right now, fewer and fewer hitters are hitting over 300. And we see Aaron Judge. We see a lot of this other thing. Chicks dig the long ball. I'm noticing now Tennessee in batting, for lack of a better term, it looks like a lot of the guys are chasing home runs. I'm not naming names, but I consistently see guys in scoring position and invariably a pop-up to the outfield. Can you talk about how analytics have changed? You're a power hitter. I remember you in junior college, leading the country in homers, and then at North Carolina. Can you talk about how enticing it is to chase those analytic numbers for home runs, and the difference in baseball now, where it seems that the gap hitters of before aren't as valued as the long ball guys?
No, right. I mean, I feel like a lot of the times whenever you see guys in scoring position, you see those big swings out of guys. It's just guys are trying to do a little bit too much, and that it's completely normal. It's human nature you want the best result that you can possibly get. But also it's realizing that with runners on second and third, a single up the middle or even a walk, just finding a way on base, it's like sometimes that's the best thing. I feel like that kind of comes a little bit more with experience, and even with the experience that you have, like it's still human nature you're going to have to fight that of getting a little bit too big. You're just a little bit under a ball and it goes straight up. I feel like it's great learning as well that whenever the crowds are big, whenever the crowds get loud, try to do a little bit less. Like you're gonna be juiced up, your body's gonna be moving fast, and that's all that I think that really comes from. It's not necessarily that you're like, oh, I have to hit a home run here. It's more human nature kicks in. You get excited, you get pumped up, you try to do a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden that bat's kind of thrown away. So I think it's just kind of taking a step back, taking a breather, and just really just keeping what we work on every single day, just keeping that true of just trying to hit something hard up the middle, and whatever happens after that happens, But I would definitely say that's definitely where it comes from. And obviously, it's easier said than done. When you're in the box and the crowd's going wild, your adrenaline in that moment is something that you just wish you could always have. But that's definitely, I think, where that aspect comes from it. And obviously, the pitching is also better.
Oh yeah.
Like you're not just gonna get a cookie at 85 miles per hour down the middle. Like you're getting either a really good fastball, a really good slider, a really good curveball, and I feel like that's why I keep that approach, especially in those tight moments, runners in scoring position, game on the line, keeping the right approach, staying calm. I feel like that's why it's so vital, especially now with how good the pitching is.
The other thing that's unique, right, about the sport, first of all, across the SEC, I was talking to the great Chris Burke today, who's going to join us in a few minutes. And Burke, he was telling me that home runs across the league are down, something like right around like 11%, something like that, which doesn't really surprise me because the pitching is very good. And then, no offense to the home plate umpires, but Alberto, these guys are so inconsistent. He worked a game on Sunday at Vanderbilt where the home plate umpire, for whatever reason, basically shifted his strike zone in in like the middle of the game. I mean, at this level, that kind of goes on. And the other day on Sunday, and look, I'm not making excuses, but the kid from Auburn had the ability to keep hitting that same spot on the low corner, and they were giving him like 3 or 4 inches off the plate. It's impossible to hit that ball, Alberto, isn't it? When a home plate umpire is giving you that as a strike.
it definitely makes it a lot tougher. It's definitely, with how good the pitching is now, getting a little bit extra off the corners, it makes hitting a lot harder. Yes, I mean, hitting's already a very hard thing. I feel like that's just whenever it gets especially important that whenever you get a mistake, to make sure you capitalize on it.
So on the way out, so that ball's outside, right? Tony freaks out after that one blown call. He just had enough. He's like, okay, I'm not going to sit here anymore. He goes out to the home plate umpire, tries to get thrown out. The guy doesn't do it. Then he goes over to first base and gets some of that. Then he goes and mocks the guy that's in the infield for his for his stuff from earlier in the series. I mean, are you guys like in the dugout going, this is kind of what I signed up for here? Or like, how does that fire a dugout up? Because obviously that's probably what he was trying to do there, right? Did you think that it gave the guys a little charge when he did that?
I mean, absolutely. I also think that just came out of his heart. Just, he was just kind of a little tired of his guy. I mean, he like what I said before. I mean, Coach V just wants what's best for us, and whenever someone isn't necessarily helping us out or doing exactly what should be done, in better terms, he's not afraid to let them know that I want to say that he's basically screwing over his players. Like, Coach V is great at that, at having our back, and I think that was just the built-up frustration of the weekend, that he felt like it was unfair to Tennessee as a whole. Just kind of we're already dealing with a bunch of adversity with the weather, and it just made it even tougher with some of those. But obviously, umpires are human as well, and they make mistakes. And I feel like as long as they can kind of correct it and be better, then all we can ask for.
You know, one of the things, Alberto, and I'll let you go here, but you were talking about how Tony really, you keep saying how he cares about his guys. I'm going to share this with you. He called me up when your deal was coming down, sort of like right in the midst of it. He said, why aren't you talking about this? I said, Tony, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he was talking about your deal, and it dawned on me in the middle of that he felt kind of responsible, you know, that pulled you here and feels so terrible about it and so awful about it. But then he kept saying to me, you don't understand. This is a great young man. He's a great young man. You could just tell how much that he's worn your deal. I mean, he's just worn it. Have you gotten that sense from him, just from you, man to man, how much this guy cares about you? Because I wanted to share that with you. I don't know if anybody's told you that, but, you know, he called me up one night and read me the riot act.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only from him, but the whole coaching staff as a whole, and I think that's what makes this place such a great family, is they care about every single person here, and I'm super thankful, because obviously none of us expected the whole situation to go the way that it did. But I mean, it's been positive ever since. Like, as soon as I found out that obviously the ruling went its way, I called him, and he said, "Listen, nothing changed, and you can trust me. We're not done. Like, this isn't over. Like, there's gonna be a way." So that's why I know God put me in Knoxville for a reason, and I'm super grateful for it. And even though things didn't go my way, they went the way that it's supposed to, and that's why it's kind of easy to keep my head on straight, just trusting the Lord and what's going on, and knowing that I can still bring value to this team in one way or another.
Well, I know one of your teammates has started sort of a GoFundMe for you for your expenses that have mounted through all this, and what we're going to do is we're going to tweet it out here in a second. I'm also going to put it on the blog, and I would encourage Tennessee fans listening by the thousands and thousands across the world to make it rain on you today and show you the love. But on the way out, Sean St. Clair was telling me that you have like a Mexican restaurant background. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. My parents, they had a crazy day on Monday with Cinco de Mayo.
Ah, I love it. I love it. All right, lay it on me. So when you go,
Anita's Mexican restaurant. It's on Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville. Okay, so you're over in the Tri-Cities. Okay, so when you go to the Mexican restaurant, you're not going to order off the menu. You guys are going to make your own thing. I had a sponsor for years and years, Panchos. Shout out to my boy Pancho. Hope you're well. You're my guy. You and Nydia, you guys will always be familiar to me. Pancho would make me dishes that they would eat themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the stuff on the menu that we make that everybody comes in and eats. When you do your own thing in the Mexican restaurant, what's it look like? Walk me through the meal that you will eat when you go to the family restaurant.
That's actually a great question because I do actually order off the menu because it's been like obviously this is my 6th year in college, so I've kind of been far away from home for a while now, and I've always been in a different state.
Yep.
So anytime I go home, I'm honestly just craving just like the normal food, whether that's, burritos, enchiladas, just honestly, just whatever I could get my hands on. That's the quickest most of the time. I will say our cheese dip there at the restaurant is actually an unbelievable cheese dip. And I'm not just saying that just from bias, but from kind of trying other cheese dips. And from reviews that I've heard from teammates, I've heard that it's one of the better cheese dips. So that's always a big go-to when I go back home.
Are you a fan of really like hot and spicy things? Because I like that green sauce that you dip the chips in, the really super hot stuff. That's what calls my name.
I'm like in the middle. Like I can't do too spicy to where like I can't eat it anymore.
Yeah.
But I can do stuff with a little bit of a kick. And yes, I love green sauce as well.
Yeah, I like to be in total pain, and I like to think about it like 8 hours later, if you know what I'm saying. But but people are trying to eat right now. So, hey, Alberto, on the way out, I want to give you a shot to say anything you want to say to Vol Nation, and I really do appreciate you taking some time for us today.
Yes, sir, and all I have to say is thank you from the bottom of my heart. How it's just been great, the amount of support that I've gotten in this whole process. Obviously, not going our way. But I can promise you we're still holding up strong, and I'm Vol forever. So thank you.
Alberto Ozuna, you've been a gentleman and a scholar. I hope you'll come back and visit with us again, and my best to you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Alberto Ozuna, from the moment I encountered him, making his acquaintance, God, what a class act. That's a great visit with him. We're going to come back on the other side. Hour number 2 commences. Chris Burke joins us, so please hold your phone calls. Burke thinks this team's got a chance to kick it into gear now, and I'm going to let him tell you about it. In the meantime, go over to my Twitter, @TonyBasilio. I'm getting ready to tweet out that GoFundMe address for this guy, and hey, let's make it rain on this kid, because he's got expenses from this thing, and I mean, what a mess. Shame on you to the NCAA, just an absolutely disgraceful, antiquated organization whose time has come. Screw you, NCAA. You talk about an organization as a corporate body that can peace out. Peace! So we take a brief time out and continue with more after this.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, 5th quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we've got Chad Stockton with FC Alliance. Chad?
Well, I'm up in Johnson City, Tennessee with our FC Alliance North location that we started this past fall. We are doing well. We kickstarted the spring season with games this past weekend, and we've got more games coming up the next few weeks. So we're excited about what the springtime holds for us. Our girls' ECNL is also into the middle of their spring season. They hosted a huge weekend this weekend coming from Pittsburgh and New York, the teams they hosted. good results. Hard teams, they played all weekend long. We've got such a focus on skill development and focusing on what's the right way to play for our kids. As we continue to grow, we're expecting our programs to continue to grow like they have been the past few years. Our tryouts are coming up in late May. For the U12 and under, it's the middle of May, and then for the older kids, it'll be late May. But we're expecting to grow not only in Knoxville, but also in Johnson City.
And if you want more information, you can see what Chad's talking about and hear those kids and get involved. It's fcallianceknox.org. Again, fcallianceknox.org. Hey, Chad, thanks, man. Many happy returns, my brother.
Thank you, Tony.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at ConnectSeal.com. That's KONEXIAL.com. Drive life with ConnectSeal and go Vols.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Tony B. back with you, 865-200-5402. Chrissy Boy Burke is going to join us here momentarily. He's going to be in today for Watson Brown, who can't join, so he's going to be presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. And I'm looking forward to talking with the great Chris Burke, who Berkey has a message of love when he joins on the TLD Logistics Hotline. And Berkey's message of love is that this Tennessee team cannot continue to do what they're doing. And that's kind of where he comes down. You know, he thinks that last night's going to launch them. So we'll see. We'll see. Brian Hartman, are you buying, selling, or trading what Chris Burke is getting ready to sell on here?
I want to buy it. I definitely want to buy that because 5 home runs last night for a team that they didn't score 25 runs like you wanted, but
yeah,
I'll take 5 homers in one game. And his 6th inning only had 6 at bats because it was a run rule.
Yep.
So they only had 6 at bats, 6 innings of at bats. So I'll take that.
And
that's one in every inning almost.
Yeah, and from Berkey's perspective, Berkey's like, hey, look, you know, this club's too talented to do what they're doing. And we were talking about it today off the air. He was like, look, you know, whatever can go wrong for these guys is going wrong. And he said, Tony, you have a phrase that you use about seeing the ball go in. He said, these guys saw the ball go in last night. Simpson's Meats presents the great Chris Burke today, who's in for Watson Brown, who Berkey loves. And Chris Burke now joins, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats, a beef brand built on quality. They raise and source their meat from farms on pastures on purpose. And they're comfortably continuing a tradition that began back in 1888 on Jim Simpson's family farm. So whether it's steaks or burgers, sausages, roast chicken, variety of local offerings at their butcher shop, from milk honey to jam to eggs and so much more. The best from our Tennessee community. You can shop in bulk. They have half and quarter cows as well if that's what you want to do. I'm telling you, I talked to the great Sam Bruce last week. He said, Tony, man, you got it going on because we're getting bombarded by your people. I'm telling you right now, you go there and you experience what people tell me they're experiencing, and you're going to taste the difference. Let's go back and get the great Chris Burke in here, and now joins on our TLD Logistics Hotline. Berkey, how we doing?
What's happening?
Berkey, is it a nice Louisville day today, or is it sort of like it is here in East Tennessee and it still feels like fall?
It's pretty here. It's like 70 with
nice.
A little haze in the sky, but I'm not going to complain. I like where we're at today.
Yeah, yesterday was one of those days where it was kind of cool, and then the sun came out and it got brutally hot. I like a typical East Tennessee spring day. It's like one minute you're kind of feeling this tinge of cool, and you feel, oh, this feels like a little fall day, and then you turn around and you're smoking hot. So the great Chris Burke joining, which kind of reminds me of our baseball team, to be completely honest with you, and I didn't plan on that segue, but there we are. Boy, hey, Berkey, you've been around the sport a long time. Have you seen, because we had Alberto Ozuna on for about an hour there just a second ago, what a delightful young kid he is, young man I should say. Have you seen a weirder weekend than the one Tennessee went through, from our guy Tony Valls, the weatherman on Friday night, right on through to the weirdness of the whole deal. The whole weekend felt like it was being played underwater. Talk to me, Berkey.
Is that what you're calling him now, the weatherman?
Not to his face.
Okay. Probably smart. Yeah, it was, I just think this team's going through it a little bit right now. I think that's pretty evident based on the struggles that the offense has gone through. I think I think my take would be that the bottom has already come, and that the law of averages says this group of kids is way too talented to continue to struggle. I'm not saying, I don't know that the defense is necessarily going to look all that different, even though I do think there'll be more consistency as Tony seems to have settled on a specific defensive lineman, especially in the middle of the field. I think that can help. But I really do expect the offense to uptick. I just think I'm a big believer in the law of averages, and I think the offense has seen their bottom, and they're going to start performing more on par with what we saw the first maybe 3 or 4 conference weekends. Not the non-conference. You can't put that on them. But I do think they're more like the first 3 or 4 weekends of SEC play than we've seen the last 3 or so.
What's it like in the sport to press, Chris? What's it like when you get inside your own head? Because obviously these guys are.
I think the hardest part is, in football and basketball, trying harder usually helps. I'm not saying always. Certainly a quarterback can get in trouble with trying too hard. But in basketball, rarely would somebody call one of your shows, Tony, and be like, I just feel like our basketball team's trying too hard, right? Like it's an effort, it's an energy, it's a hustle, it's kind of a want-to sport, right? Baseball, I'm not saying those things don't exist, but oftentimes trying too hard is counterproductive. And you all you can do is take a good swing at a good pitch. Like literally that's it. So for all you dads out there, moms and dads out there that have kids that are playing youth baseball, like you want a fair expectation for each and every at bat. Did I swing at strikes? Did I take balls? And did I make my best swing? I mean, that's really all you can do. But most kids get to a place like Tennessee because they're wired as high achievers and doers, and they really want to make it happen. And a lot of times that you hear Tony reference this a lot in his press conferences. I was reading what he wrote this morning, or what he said this morning about Reese Chapman. Like there's a little too much try hard in there. And that oftentimes in baseball, that can be really counterproductive.
The other thing that fans will say, and I'm guilty of this, okay? And I've been kind of chastised by a fellow baseball buddy we both have. When I say this team has an off switch, and one of my friends said, yeah, no kidding, dummy. When teams don't hit, they always look like they're having an off switch. But it's not that they're not trying to hit. But when teams, like when you go through a weekend like this where you leave 25 guys on base and, you have that very frustrating false start Friday night, and then you come out in the third game, and, I mean, you want to say flat, right? But this team does have a strange gear to it. It's been odd, hasn't it?
Well, I just think there's I think you have the carryover effect from the national championship, and everybody's feeling that mojo. And then conference play starts, your best player gets hurt. That's weird.
Yeah.
Your bullpen starts to get a little beat up, which is always a disconcerting feeling. And then some of your guys fall into what would normally be considered very typical, mid-season struggles. And when your defense, your bullpen, and your, let's just say, supporting cast players, because I think, to be fair, Inslee and Fisher and Bargo have been very good. I mean, to expect much more from those guys I don't think is all that fair. And Keelan, he was. I really believe if Gavin Keelan wouldn't have got hurt, he'd be in the Golden Spikes conversation. I truly think he was on pace for that kind of a season. And I think that a game like yesterday might propel him to that kind of a finish. But you get those four guys cooking, and then you just get something from Curley, Chapman, Peebles, whoever's DHing, and I think you're right back in business.
Chris Burke joining, ESPN fame, Wall of Famer in Knoxville, advocate for the program, hit king here, tons of records, all that. But he's a beautiful guy. I mean, as much as you know about his accolades, let me just tell you, away from all this, just one of the most next level people ever. And is not afraid to. What are you laughing about?
Oh, you're too much, Tony. Here, this is where you soften me up to take a shot. Go ahead, I'm ready.
No, I was going to say, and one of the few people in my life that will call me up and call me out. Like today, he said, Tony, good blog entry and interesting stuff over at tclub.team today, because Burke read it. He said it was we did a deep dive going back to '99. The truth is, it's extremely difficult to come back the next year. And I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to jump Sean in here.
Yeah.
Why, Chris, is it so hard in the sport after you win it all for the 25 years of this format? Over half of the teams don't even get to a super regional. Why is that? Why is that?
Well, to me, it's very simple. There's 6 or 7 things you could say that would be true, but almost always when you win a national championship, you are being led by players that are impossible to replace, who are out of eligibility or going to the draft. And so, we talked about it a lot this year. Like, Tony Vitello could be the Tennessee coach for the next 25 years. He might not coach 2 hitters better than Christian Moore and Blake Burke. So you just can't replace those guys. They're irreplaceable. You can try to supplement their production. You can win a different way. You can still have a great season, but you literally can't replace those 2 people. And then, to be fair to the rest of the squad, like Dylan Dreiling, I just said Christian Moore and Blake Burke, and Dylan Dreiling was the most outstanding player of the College World Series. So I just think if you look at LSU in 23, they had Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. Those are, again, 100 years from now, Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens will be 2 of the best players that ever played at LSU. And last year, Tennessee had Burke and Moore, and Mississippi State had Rowdy Jordan and Logan Tanner. Like these are guys, or Tanner Allen, excuse me. Will Bednar had one of the most incredible postseason runs that we've seen this century. Like, he just was unhittable for 4 starts. So you just get these players. Heck, they built a statue at Ole Miss for Tim Elko, right? You get these players that are legendary players that are at the height of their powers relative to their peers, and they carry you to a title. And when they leave, there is a void that is very hard to fill. And so that's why that doesn't shock me, because I just think it's really pretty, I think, logical if you think about it, right? Like great players win championships, and when they leave, there's a hangover and a void that's almost impossible to fill.
And then this team didn't help matters, Berkey, by getting off to a 20-0 start, being number 1 in America. One thing you've told me down through the years about Tony, unlike a lot of these guys, he really will tell you, not only by what he says, but what he does. And he told me, he said, Tony, we're not that good. We're not number 1. I thought, you're here you go again, man. Lou Holtz. On the air, I'm like, you're Lou Holtz. And he goes, okay. I really feel like he knew they had holes that were going to be, don't you think, that were going to be exposed?
Yeah, I think he's been pretty fair about his team through the years. And now I think he thinks they're better than they played the last few weeks. But I did hear him say something the other day, and he's right. If you could say ifs all you want, but they could have easily won a couple games over the last 5 weeks that they didn't. And like I've been telling you guys forever, the difference right now between 16-8 and 14-10 is, D1 would be projecting them to be the number 3 seed in the national deal as opposed to on the bubble to even host. I mean, that's how much these games matter. And so, they're probably not as good as their 20-0 start, but they're definitely better than we've seen the last few, especially the last few home series. And I think ultimately, that will play out here down the stretch. I really believe they're about to hit an upswing down the stretch here.
Sean Sinclair, followed by Brian Hartman, the great Chris Burke joining. He's presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Look, steaks make great gift, and gift boxes are available for you. Ship premium meats anywhere at simpsonsmeats.com. They've got a store in West Knoxville off Lovell Road. It's unbelievable, Andy. Go ahead, Cinco, jump in.
Chris, thanks again for joining us. I really look forward to the SEC tournament because I think that's where you really come alive and they can showcase your value in the press box. For whatever reason, I've not my viewership this year and your assignments are not lined up, so I'm looking forward to that. I got a couple things for you.
I do have the Tennessee and Arkansas series coming up.
Oh, Berkey, you're going to get ripped by our crowd. You're going to get ripped that weekend. I'm looking forward to that. I always like when Berkey does the games and our Twidiots start ripping him and questioning his loyalty to his school. Let me tell you something, Twidiots. This is the most in love with University of Tennessee athletics guy I've ever met in my life. But you keep being a Twidiot. You keep doing you. Continue. I'm sorry, Sean.
Sorry, Cinco. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. Hey, Chris, a couple things I'd like your opinion on. First of all, I've got decent seats at UT, and I've always had, for my seats, I've always had a pretty good perspective on what a strike is and what a ball is. Not perfect, but a pretty good vantage point there. And Tony and I have gone around and round about the robo strike zone or the automatic strike. I like the idea. He doesn't. Fair enough. But I'm here to tell you right now, live and on TV, I have no clue what a strike is these days. And it's not just because we're winning or losing. I legitimately have no clue what a strike zone is. So if you could address that the best you can, I know your position, you don't want to be critical. Second of all is, can Tennessee really go to where they want to go? I get the offense you're talking about, but can we really go where we want to go if we don't tighten up the defense, if we can't control base runners, and if the pitchers and catchers don't stop with the pass ball and wild pitches? Not criticizing anybody, but can those things really continue to go on while we don't have, like last year, 5 guys hitting 20 home runs? We may not have one this year.
Yeah, I think everything you just said has. I think it has been an eyesore. The infield defense clearly has been a problem. There have been more runs scored on wild pitch / pass balls than I can. It's all fun and games to let people steal bases until you score on pass ball wild pitches, and then that becomes a little more harmful.
Yep.
So I feel you there. That does seem to have been heightened, and I do think Cal Stark's value as a receiver and blocker of the baseball probably has been highlighted with some of the balls that we've seen go to the backstop over the last couple of weeks. But all that being said, I do think the home run masks a lot of that, and when the home run is not there, it's so easy to focus on those other things. And so the question would be, is what do I think is more likely to change? I think what's more likely to change is that we start swinging the bat better, and that, who knows, maybe that leads to the pitching staff performing at a little higher level because they don't feel the pressure of trying to post a zero each and every inning, and you don't feel the pressure of having to make a perfect pitch with every breaking ball. But I don't think the holding base runners piece is going to change, Sean. I think we've seen, that style for years. I mean, that's who they are as a staff.
But you know what? People's get ready, which is the craziest thing about this year. If any sequence of plays is emblematic of Tennessee's little spell they're in here, he threw out the same guy twice, who then came around and scored on a pass ball. Now you can't make that up, Burke. I mean, that
was pretty wild.
You know,
I will say this.
Shortstop's got to make a tag error. You played shortstop. You got to make a tag.
Yeah.
And the third baseman's feet. You've done that as well. He's out of position receiving a baseball. I mean, this is, baseball. You got to get the tag down there. Both guys.
Well, here's what happens. That Coach Delmonico had a lot of things nailed, and one of those was this. He used to break the old rule of, there used to be, or you might argue there still is, but people against Tennessee break it all the time, which is, if you notice, nobody steals third with 2 outs.
Yep.
Like, it's just not a play that people do, because
Yep.
they say, well, you got to have a base hit to score them anyway. Don't take the risk of getting thrown out. Just get a good secondary and score on a base hit. But Coach Delmonico used to say all the time, like, if they know we'll steal third with 2 outs, okay, the other team knows that. Well, then the third baseman has a decision to make. Am I going to play coverage, or am I going to be in a position to take that throw? Because really, Manny Marin, he's trying to play coverage, and he tried to cover third base from a position 15, 20 feet behind the back. Like, you can't really do both. That's where it puts the defense in a conundrum. Either I'm going to play in a position where I'm a step or two behind third base so I can easily cover the base, or I'm essentially going to let that person go to third base. But I would argue that Tennessee, like, if Manny Marin's going to play where he was playing on that play, either he needs to have an eye on the runner earlier and totally vacate his position and not even worry about fielding a ground ball, or he needs to not even cover at all. But to be in between doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think earlier in the year, didn't somebody score when Bargo was playing third?
Yes.
On a very similar situation
Yes.
where Bargo was kind of late.
Ball got by him.
The ball
Yes.
got past him.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, are we covering third or are we not? Because if we're not covering third, then just stay in your position and literally let the guy walk into third base. Like, don't even throw it. But if we're covering third, which it clearly looks like we're supposed to be, because if we weren't covering, if we were just letting them have it, Peoples would not come up and throw. He'd just catch the ball and throw it back to the pitcher. But he's throwing it to third like he expects somebody to be there.
So weird.
If we're expecting somebody to be there, then we need to position ourselves in a place where you can get there easily. Because every time I see somebody steal third against us with 2 outs, it feels like it is a full sprint where the third baseman's not actually quite making it to the base.
You got to bow your head when you say his name. I mean, when he takes you inside like this and breaks it down scientifically. Before I jump Brian here, I was at spring training baseball this year, which is really a beautiful thing down in Clearwater, watching my Phillies, which isn't, but spring training baseball is a beautiful thing. Too bad the Phillies are involved. Sean was talking about the strike zone. They were doing a thing in baseball this year. They were kind of test piloting, and I think they're doing it at different levels, but they have a review system for the uninitiated where pitcher, if he wants it, taps his head, batter, if he wants it, steps out. It literally takes 2 seconds to figure out whether it's a ball or a strike. And you get like so many challenges, however they're structuring it. It isn't like an endless amount of challenges, but you get so many. Burke, are you in favor of something like that might help? Because these umpires obviously want to do their jobs right.
Yes, they do. No, and Sean, I'm sorry I didn't answer that part of your question. I got off on the stealing third base tangent. But yes, I think the umpiring, the strike zones. So what happened was 3 or 4 years ago they went to TrackMan, and the TrackMan zone's supposed to be, kind of by the letter of the law strike zone. And so for a while the strike zone had shrunk to the point where everybody's like, man, it's harder than ever to throw a strike in college baseball. And this year it feels like the umpires have maybe, and Sean, I think you would agree with this, it feels like the umpires have gotten maybe a little more generous. The problem with that is the hitters are still taking pitches that for the last few years, have been called balls. And now I feel like everybody's a little stuck as to what's a ball, what's a strike. So because of that, I've never thought that college umpires or college pitchers were good enough to be held to the standard of a major league strike. And so, to me, I would be in favor of a TrackMan zone that is a little more generous on the edges, not really north and south, but a little more generous on the edges, maybe a couple inches either way, and then just give the hitter. We got TrackMan in all these ballparks. All these pitches, every single pitch is being tracked for whether the umpire got the call right or wrong. So what you're saying, Tony, is I can't imagine it would be too much work to just buzz down and say, was that a ball or strike, right? Give them a certain amount of reviews. If just like with anything, if you're right, you keep them. If you're wrong, you lose them. Because, look, if a 1-0 pitch that's borderline gets called a ball or strike, we can play ball. But if it's second and third with 2 outs, and a kid takes a borderline pitch,
that's right,
and he gets rung up, nobody wants that to decide a game. Nobody wants that.
Well, like the other day, you got traffic. Tennessee's trying to stage a comeback. Ensley thinks he walks. He did walk. But that umpire was giving that particular pitcher who threw that low outside. He kept hitting a spot.
Yep.
And he kept calling it a strike. Kept hitting us, and so at some point, Tennessee's got to swing. They got to start swinging 2 strikes.
I do think they need to swing more. I do think that's an issue.
Yeah, they're looking for walks.
I think there's too many strikeout looking.
Yeah, there's.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But Sean, to your point, I do think one of the things that would be interesting that has always been a problem in the sport is when a catcher is set up on one side of the plate and the pitcher misses to the other side of the plate, it always is going to look bad, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was a ball.
Right.
And I think that's where it really looks bad from the dugout. It can look bad to the viewer. It can certainly look bad to the fan in the stands because you see a catcher reach or lunge for a pitch, and the natural assumption is always going to be, well, that had to be a ball.
Hey, Burke, replay
sometimes that's not always the case.
Replay, would it help the pitcher or the batter more over the course of a season? What's your sense of that?
I would say probably the batter. I would say probably the batter, but I do think it would be surprising some of the pitches that get called balls that are strikes. I do think it wouldn't shock me if it's almost close to 50-50, so to speak, on who it helps.
Brian Hartman jump in here with the great Chris Burke, generous enough to give us some time. He's in for the great Watson Brown, who's presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. They're online at simpsonsmeats.com. They've got a store in West Knoxville off Level Road. You got to see it to believe it. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Chris, who in the SEC or who around the country do you think that's at the top of the SEC or one of the best teams in the country that could have a shorter than expected postseason? Maybe a disappointing showing where they don't get as far as you think they should?
I think the easy answer there would be Texas because they've got the most to lose, right? I mean, they're the number 1 team. So when you're the number 1 team, anything short of, I'm not going to say national championship, but certainly anything short of Omaha would be a disappointment. But, until Tennessee did what they did last year, what do we have, 26 straight seasons or 24 straight seasons of the number 1 seed not winning at all.
Yep.
So I think when you look at Texas, I think they've had an incredible season. I think they have the pieces to they might have the pieces to win in Omaha more than they have the pieces to get to Omaha, just because of the way they can win 3-2, 4-3, 5-3 kind of ball games. But I think they would be the easy answer because I think their style of play is more in line with the Arkansas teams of the last few years. Not the Arkansas team this year. That team's a bunch of bad dudes. But the Arkansas teams the last few years where it was very pitching and defense dominant, and the offense didn't give them a lot of margin. And so all it takes is one red-hot team to come into your building and break your heart.
Hey, Burke, you called the game on Sunday, that Vandy game, 7-2 at one point. Umpires got he made it interesting, the guy behind the plate. I don't know who he is, but he decided to have like a mystery strike zone last couple of innings. And Vandy, hey, you got to give them credit. Great comeback win for them. How much of a live dog are they this weekend? And then, from your perspective, the next 2 weekends, what would be a quality result for the Vols over the next 6 games?
I think the Vandy series, I think it could go one of two ways. I think I don't see Tennessee losing the series. I just think Tennessee, like I said, I think their worst offensive days are behind them, and I think Vandy has struggled to produce offensively on the road. I think Tennessee's going to get plenty of pitching to have a chance to win all 3 games. So, I could see Tennessee winning all 3. I could see Tennessee winning 2 out of 3. I feel like that series is going to go one of those 2 ways. That's just my objective viewpoint. And I think, to give Tennessee credit, as much as it's easy to beat up on them lately, they've done a fantastic job on the road this year. So, I think the easiest answer would be to say they're going to go 4-3. I think I think not the best case scenario, but I think fantastic result from a Tennessee fan perspective is 4-2, which 4-2.
4-2, that would be incredible.
18-12.
I take that right now. You'd be hosting if you did that.
Yeah, 18-12, and you'd probably be 6 to 8 seed nationally.
Yep.
Would be my guess.
That would be incredible. Burke, if you can work that out, I will sign on the dotted line. But I am looking forward to you doing that Arkansas series, because you're going to get ripped by our fan base. And it's do you?
I will tell you, if you haven't seen Arkansas is bad now.
I've seen them. No. I watched that Arkansas-Texas series. That was incredible. Yeah. I had the Tennessee game on and the Arkansas game on Saturday, and our game was being played in the Twilight Zone, and they were playing home run derby in their game. I mean, that Arkansas team's got some freaking boppers now, and they smoked the ball in their building.
Those Aloy brothers are bad cats. They are grown men. Their parents didn't have enough kids. They needed to have about 10 more of them. Those kids are cut out of brick. I mean, it's wild how big and strong those kids are. But it's a deep lineup. It's a big-time pitching staff. I think they check all the right boxes defensively. And I really think it's a fantastic opportunity for Tennessee, because I think the best version of Tennessee can play with that team. And you're also getting Arkansas on emotionally. You're getting them on the back end of Texas, LSU, and then Tennessee comes to their building.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. So
Yeah.
in a way, you could say you're getting them in a good spot. But I do think, just in general, the beautiful thing about SEC baseball is it's not like SEC football. You're not going to a rival team, and if you lose, you don't get to the playoff, or you don't get to the so what? You go there, you see how you stack up against what I think is the best team in the country, and however the series goes, you move on. It's not life or death. It's just a great measuring stick series right at the end of the season. So I think from that standpoint, there's a lot to look forward to in that series.
Chris Burke breaking it down scientifically on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Hey, Burke, on the way out, Brian asked a question. I'm asking a reverse question. Who's a team in this league? Because we had the great Chris Lee on yesterday, Southeastern16.com. He said there literally is 12 teams from this league right now, 12. But he thinks the league's as good as it's ever been. Part one, do you agree with that? And then part two, there are some surprise sneak attack teams that are going to make Omaha potentially out of this league. Who's somebody we're not talking about that nobody wants to see out of this league, Chris? Could it be Tennessee?
No, I think they're too famous for somebody to overlook.
Okay.
I would say maybe, if you want me to go down the list, I'll go two. I'll just take 2 teams, and I could probably make a case for 5 of them. But I think Oklahoma is a really interesting group, because they got a superstar in Kyson Witherspoon, who's going to be a top 10 pick. They've got an offense that, imagine kind of Kentucky last year. They play that brand of ball offensively, and they have the Witherspoon kid has a twin brother who's got similar stuff, just not quite as efficient as his brother. And then they got a lefty in the middle of them that's capable of running through your lineup. So I feel like I feel like Oklahoma's kind of a, they're probably going to be a 2 seed, but like somebody's going to be really disappointed when Oklahoma shows up with those two Witherspoon brothers pitching and going, holy cow, we got to deal with this team in our own building. Even though they're not overly offensive, they can really shut you down and win with small ball. And then I think probably the most unique team, and stop me if you've heard this one before, but like Florida's won 10 of their last 12 games.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Left for dead a month ago, and here they are, man. Somebody's got to deal with that talented team. Here they are.
That's exactly right. And if you're capable of winning 10 or 12 in this league, you're capable of going to Omaha. So I would say that about Florida. And it's just a group that just like, to beat them, to knock them out in the tournament, you got to like cut their head off. I mean, that team, they've been to Omaha 9 of the last 14 years. So, golly, it's hard to pick against them.
Yeah, and that's Tony's guy down there, old Sully. Loves him. But listen, on the way out, I'll tell you one thing about that dude. I'd hate to get in an argument with him because he could eat me like a freaking snack. I mean, he's got
I've got them in Texas this weekend. I got them in Texas. And I'm going to Tuscaloosa. I got Georgia and Alabama.
Burke, you're my main man. I love you.
I appreciate you guys.
So you really do believe this team's about to get on track. You're not just snowing me here.
No, don't let the Vols get hot. Don't let the Vols get hot. That's what I got for you.
See you, brother. Good talking to you.
All right. Later.
Bri, did that make you feel better? The great Chris Burke on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Did that make you feel better, Bri?
Yeah, I felt better this morning coming in. And
really?
I feel better now, yeah.
So beating up on that team last night did something for you, huh?
Yeah, beating Larry Bird's alma mater like that really boosted the energy level I got today so far.
Shout out to
the thing to me last night is how many weeks has it been since those guys looked like they were having fun?
That's exactly right. Got to see the ball go in, Sean.
It's college baseball. It's the daddy hat. It's supposed to be fun.
Yes.
And it looked like a slog. I mean, for the past month and a half. No offense to those guys.
No, you're right.
I trust they're trying, man, but they just have not looked like they were having fun out there. And last night, home runs, doubles, whatever. It looked like they were having fun.
We see the fur coat. Where's the fur coat been?
A young talk show host out there. You got to really listen when people talk, okay? You can interview people. Don't be worried about asking your next question. Listen. Chris Burke said something really interesting in the middle of. He said, in this game, there's such a thing as trying too hard. I think Tennessee at the plate has been trying too hard. I think these guys have brought last at bat, and then last at bat, and the at bat before that, and then I'm in the box and I'm trying to score 8 runs here when all really I got to do is put a ball in play. Sean asked Alberto Ozuna a question last hour about, hey man, everybody's trying to long ball, and Alberto's like, well, actually, in my mind, you're just trying to hit a ball hard, but sometimes it's almost impossible not to swing for the fences, especially at a place like our building. And Tennessee saw a few go in last night. I mean, hey, let this Keelan guy get hot this weekend. They could go right through Vandy like a hot knife through butter. Billy Derrick, you clown. And all you Vandy clowns and the Whistler. Cinco, are you looking forward to hearing the Whistler this week in our building?
Not a fan of the Whistler, Tony D.
We're going to come back on the other side and get some calls in if you want to join. Happy 80th birthday to the Swamp Rat Dewey Warren. Bri, the Swamp Rat is 80 years old today. How about that?
We taking scores in honor of the Swamp Rat's 80th?
Might have to do that on Friday, Bri. Great idea. Maybe we'll take some scores on the Vandy game Friday night as we continue with more. And Titans Bill. I already got that one after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Your next opportunity to see your Knoxville Smokies in the brand new Covenant Health Park is next week. And what a week! Great promotions every night, including Peanut Free Night on Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday with half-off drafts, and join Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the gang on Saturday. Our Sunday day game will be honoring our law enforcement. And don't forget, fireworks every Friday and Saturday night all season long. Get your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Achillio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms. and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. TB back with you, 865-200-5402. Sean and I were just having a conversation off the air about how people are, you get a couple commitments out of the transfer portal and people's wool starts to grow in, like, hey, we have a little life here. Hey, Cinco, from my perspective, and then we'll go back to the phones, I'm speaking now of Tennessee football. What choice do any of us have but to hope for the best this fall and hope this thing turns into a Disney storybook kind of thing? What choice do it? And could that happen? Sure it could. I know one thing, Sean, and then I want your thoughts, and then we'll go to the phones. The entire apparatus of college football, besides people on Tennessee's schedule, will be cheering for Tennessee because they got high-hatted by a crazy father. They're the only school in the country that had a quarterback leave, starting quarterback in the spring. It just doesn't happen in that sport. So they got high-hatted by a guy who, the end result of that, displaced a kid that did nothing but everything UCLA asked of him in Joey football. And so now Joey football and Tennessee were a marriage of convenience. And it would be a great story if that kid came here and led Tennessee to like a 9-win year. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Orange Throat can make fun of me all he wants, and that's fine. You can make fun of me. If that football team, as it's currently constituted against that schedule, wins 9 games, that's a great season. Just like if this baseball team can get to a super regional from here, that would be a great season. Tony, aren't we supposed to be trying to get to... I'm not saying you're not supposed to try to get to Omaha, and I'm not saying you're not supposed to try to get to the playoffs. But I'm also going to say that I'm honest about the teams I follow. It's kind of part of the deal. Professional, college, whatever. I'm honest about the teams I follow. Always have been. Sean Sinclair, your thoughts on the wool factor, and then my feeling, which is, hey, a 9-win year, we ought to parade Josh Heupel downtown with like they used to in the old Roman days and have a parade for him.
Well, a couple things. You're always going to have your ultimate fans are always going to be half full or half empty. We got our, not naming names, we got our negative fans and we got our sunshine pumpers. And you know what? They're both equally as passionate as they are about their teams. Even the most negative fan still loves that team.
Yep.
As much as anybody. They just see it through a little different lens, and they'd rather disappoint themselves than have that disappoint them at the end. So I get that. Why not? Why not be Willie? With Joey Aguilar coming in after we've been spurned by Nico and his camp. Everyone loves the Disney story. Everybody, it's set up to be a great story if he comes in and does well. I a little bit of a disagreement with you. If Josh Heupel gets this team to go to 9-3, is that a good coaching job? As far as X's and O's, I would say yes. However, part of being a head coach is accumulating talent. And if you're celebrating 9-3 with the talent you accumulated, I got an issue with that.
Well, that's what Rotaji told me, and he told me that off the air. He goes, "I can't." Well, no, you guys. You guys
have the one. He's the one that's responsible for putting players on the thing.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I was watching if you can like him or not, and that's fine. But there was a segment of a interview Theo Vaughn had Lane Kiffin on the other day, and they were talking about Nick Saban, and we all know about the process, and we all know about how stickler of a detail and what a robot Nick Saban is. But at the end of the day, they asked him Theo asked him what makes him the greatest, and he said, what makes him the greatest is that day and night he outworked everybody recruiting and made sure he got the best players because when you get into a game, it's who has the most talent. And Nick Saban always made it a point to outworking everybody to get the most talent. And so, it's lately we're talking about a kid that we got from Colorado and Joey Aguilar and stuff. Hey, I hope we go 10-2, 11-1. We'll see. But I'm going to be woolly as well.
Why not?
How about this? I'm a woolly realist. How about that?
Yeah, if you can't love your team when you're 0-0 and say, hey, we can do this thing, what would the point be in that? But let's go to the phones. Again, there are worrisome trends around the football program that I'm worried about. That's all. And I haven't said it this week on the air. I'm not going to say it. But I will tell you this. The entire apparatus of college football is cheering for Tennessee this fall. So that's a good thing. It's good to wear a white hat every once in a while. We're wearing a white hat in that sport heading into 2025. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. It's our Wednesday edition.
Hey, what's going on, Tony? Who's your boy, Ryan?
Hey, Ryan, welcome in.
Well, I had to call and talk about the end of that Pacers game, man.
Oh, man. Was that wild, dude, or what? Was that wild, dude, or what? Was that wild or what, man?
Both the state of Indiana and the state of Ohio have really good high school basketball.
Yep.
It was a great shot by Halliburton.
Yep.
But the Cavs, you talk about loser DNA minus LeBron James. They did about half a dozen things in succession that, a high school basketball team from Cleveland or Dayton or Indianapolis or Fort Wayne would run till they puke at the next practice if they lost a game that way. It wasn't the shot. Let's see, we start out with an amazing play off a tip-in dunk on a free throw. And the NBA is a little weird on their lane violations where the player can sprint like Jordan in that iconic play into the lane on a free throw. You can't do that in any other level of basketball, but forgive that. But then they had an offensive foul, thrown an elbow, didn't block out. No. They then screwed up an inbounds play. And then when the Pacers missed the free throw to tie, they then again didn't block out, gave up an offensive rebound, and of course Halliburton made that shot because the basketball gods tell you, man, you can't screw up 5 things in a row in a minute win. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, and then the Halliburton play, which you're pointing to, the highlight we all see, there's a loose ball there they don't get to. You got to get that ball. You've got to get. And then he gets it in his hands, and you know what he's going to do. Hey, Brian, that step back that he hit is a sick shot. I don't care who you are. That is a sick 25-footer right there at the end of a game. That's a sick shot, Brian.
Yeah, and if I'm Boston, I know that they're down 1-0, but if they can get past the Knicks, the Indiana Pacers really would concern me. Last year in the conference final, 3 of those 4 games, I know it was a sweep, but 3 of those 4 games could have easily gone either way. It could have been 2-2. It could have been 3-1 Indiana, just as easily.
And I'll tell you,
that Pacer team scares me. They've got size. They've got they got.
I agree, Brian. And they're not afraid.
They really, really scare me.
You know what they've got, guys? And Ryan, stay there. They've got a little bit of this Miami Heat thing, they feel like. They culturally, that looks like a team I would not want to be across from in the playoffs. But to the radio listener, I love you. We're about out of time. Check us out at tclub.team. Again, tclub.team. Love you, appreciate you. Love your show. G to the B to the O. And take Bino. We'll be with you tomorrow. We love you. We'll continue the conversation. TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
So who's your Ryan? Great NBA game two really, really great NBA game last night.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Lots of teams. Hey, Bri, in the NBA last night, the road teams won.
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
And in the NHL last night, the road teams both won. And in 3 of the 4 cases, both overcame large deficits in 3 of the 4 cases to win, or deficits. So it's pretty interesting right there. These pro guys, man. Yeah, it's a different deal in the pros.
The NHL, though, road teams win all the time. Road teams win series all the time. Teams come back from 0-3 to tie it. So the home ice advantage really means nothing in the postseason.
My favorite,
usually.
Yeah, and then the other thing about this Halliburton guy is
with the NBA, that's the opposite. It usually means everything.
The league players. The thing about Kyle Blackburn says the thing about watching the NBA is and following the NBA is you got to focus on the drama around the sport and the way the player and the things they say about each other off the court, and the drama around it and the soap opera that is. So Halliburton was voted, I don't know if you saw this, Ryan, but the most overrated player in the league by the players. I guess they don't like him. He rubs people the wrong way. Yeah, that's what he's done this against. That came out over the weekend, and they say it pissed him off and ran all over him, and it has been fueling him in this series. So he's hit 2 game winners. That's why last night when he made that shot, he was doing that thing about his, shall we say, onions dragging the ground, like he was carrying them around. And Anthony looked at me and he said, that's one of the greatest celebrations I've never seen a guy do that. I said, next time I do something like that worthy of athletically, I'm going to get up and do that with the onions and pretend.
He paid homage to Reggie the Spike when he grabbed, we'll say, his onions and then did the choke symbol in the 25-point fourth quarter.
There you go. Reggie Miller, loved him.
Bro, I was just messing with you on bringing up the Celtics, but let me ask you this. I'm joking how Bri always brings the Celtics up a lot. Is this the year, an air quote, if there even is one, small market team wins the NBA Finals? Because I don't consider the Spurs a small market team. When was the last small market team to win the Finals?
Well, let's see. Portland won one. That's a small market.
That'd count. Was that Bill Walton?
Well, that was 1970. That happened on my watch, 1977.
Oklahoma City came really close.
And that's what he's talking about. I think Oklahoma City's going to win it all this year. And I think that'd be good for basketball.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Indiana, maybe they played Jason
That'd be
Aldean
fun.
flyover states. Yeah.
I've always had a soft spot for the Pacers because they came out of the ABA, man. I'm for it, not against it.
Well, no.
If it ain't the Celtics, honestly, I'd like to see the Pacers or Oklahoma City win it.
Yep. Give me somebody different. Not the Warriors, though. That's a bad blow to them last night, what happened with Curry. That'll follow them through the playoffs.
Did I see Stackhouse on their sidelines, or was I making things up?
I don't know where Stackhouse is now. He would stand out, though. I guarantee he had if it was him, he had a $5,000 suit on.
I could be making it up, but I could have swore when I flipped it over or when they were showing something that I saw Stackhouse on one of the sidelines for the Golden State game. Anyway, Brad, no offense, but for nostalgia purposes, I'd love to see the Knicks and the Pacers again, and it'd remind me of my childhood. So,
Brian,
Knicks,
thank you, brother. You got about as much chance of that happening as I do getting through this hour with good takes. Which is to say, not at all. Hello and welcome into our next call. It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, online at tldlogistics.com. Holla. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Let's try this again. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. All right. You're gone. Hello and welcome in. You're on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Hey guys, Dave.
Hey, Dave. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm worried about football.
Yep.
I went back, and the one thing Josh Heupel's had since he's been at Tennessee, I I disregarded the 21 season because that was his first season. But the 22 season, he had, in his two deep on offense and defense, he had 37 upperclassmen. That's juniors and seniors. In 2023, he had 36 upperclassmen in his two deep offense and defense. Last year, he had 29 in his two deep. This year, they've only got 5 on offense in their two deep and 13 on defense in their two deep.
So they basically have cut it in half.
And I just think it's really tough to be young in the SEC.
Sean,
even if
Sean,
Nico was
let me ask Sean something. Hey, Sean, if it does not go well, okay, is that one of the spins we're going to hear? That we're young, Sink?
I think the narrative will be from people trying to protect the program that it'll. I think they'll get away from that. I think you'll hear people. I hate to say it. I think they'll be lobbing, bombs at Nico and how that all went down.
Okay.
Hang on a second. I think Dave brings up a good point.
Yeah.
You said something off air that I think it needs to be talked about more. And I just thought about it the past couple minutes, and I agree with you. And I said about how Nick Saban just outworks everybody with recruiting. Urban Meyer did the same thing, and they were great coaches, but it comes down to players. And you made the comment that in assessing Josh Heupel, it appears that he's a guy that just loves coaching football.
Loves it.
And that's great because you need that. Woody Woodhofer just loved coaching football. Josh Heupel is not a coach of Woody Woodhofer's acumen. I'm sorry. Woody Woodhofer didn't win a lot of games, but as the architect of the Steel Curtain of Pittsburgh, there's none better. Buddy Ryan's in that class, but he's not better. So there are a lot of guys, and I think what you're talking about is not a shortcoming, but it's just in this era of college football, you cannot just be a football coach. Even more so, you have to be a fundraiser. You have to be a CEO. You have to be Barnum and Bailey marketer. You have to be all those things. And I think what you're trying to point out without getting ripped by the sunshine pumpers is the fact that, hey, okay, he's a very good coach, sure.
He's excellent.
But that's one spoke on the wheel of being a potential top 10 coach. And some of these things, like Dave said, no. If you think you're going to play SEC football at the highest level with boys, you're crazy. You're just now when people are 5th and 6th years and they've been in weight programs and nutrition things. Even if you've transferred around 2 or 3 times, you're a man compared to young guys that are not only are they young, but they're inexperienced. They're new to a system. Yeah. The thing with that, real quick, the thing with Merklinger is that I haven't heard anybody talk about. Merklinger was a backup last year, and he was going in as a backup this year. He, his family, all his friends, etc., knew that best case scenario, he was going to be, if he got hurt, if Nico got hurt, he'd come in there and do a little bit here and there. And okay, let me tell you what, that's a whole lot different than who's the guy leading summer workouts? Who's the guy, getting people to go to throwing sessions in the summer? Who's the guy that has to go and talk to the offensive lineman that's thinking about quitting? Who's the guy that has to, you know what I mean? Who's the guy? It is so different being the potential backup because that's what they were. That's what he thought he was going to be, and nobody prepares. Everyone says, "Well, you're one player." That's bull crap. Everybody knows that until you're the guy, you're not the guy, and I think that's a little concerning. I think Dave and you bring up legitimate points.
Well, and here's the thing. I think Josh Heupel is a marvelous coach. Like Matt Dixon said it a couple weeks ago.
Do too.
If you get him the ingredients, he's already proven to us he can do that. The problem is he's the one now responsible for getting the ingredients, and he hasn't shown that yet. And that's what's even more curious, Dave, about their approach in the transfer portal. And people say, well, I'm not picking on anybody. Look, we call balls and strikes. I don't agree with Tennessee basketball putting all that money in one freshman. I would have taken that money and I'd have bought 3 veteran players for that money, or at least 2 veteran players for that money. But that's me. I would take knowns over unknowns. Josh Heupel and his staff have decided we're going to get younger. We're going to this offseason, we're going to focus more on our high school recruiting, which here's the deal with high school recruits now. Watson Brown said it. If they don't carve out a spot on your deal right away, kiss their ass goodbye. And you've wasted your money recruiting them. It's the absolute fact of the matter. Look at the transfer portal. I don't understand why you didn't just go get 9 or 10 veteran guys and make your roster older. Make your 2 deep older. But go ahead, Dave. That's just me.
And in the 5, there's 5 upperclassmen and then 2 deep in offense. One of them is Kisselman, and he may not be 100%.
Yeah, he's got a pec issue. That's right.
And in the 13 upperclassmen on defense, one of them, I'm counting Jared McCoy, and he may not be ready to go at the beginning of the year.
So you're down to 11.
You're down to 11. You're talking about 4 and 12. And to give you a little context on the issue, Vandy has 33 upperclassmen in their 2 deep going into this year.
How many, hey, Dave, have you counted at like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, places like that? Have you done that?
I'm getting there.
Would you?
They've got more than we do.
Do that
here's
for
the
me.
thing about there's the thing about Alabama and Georgia. They're if they're having to play younger guys, their guys are high 4 stars and 5 stars. And that makes a difference, Tony.
Sure it does. You get no argument from me.
I don't know what. I hope it works out. That's all I can say. But if anybody, if he goes 9-3 and
a parade,
and Dr. Sinclair was right. This is him. He's put this. He's got to get the talent. He's got to recruit.
If he takes this team in 9-3, it's a great coaching job.
Well, yeah, it's like, because they're going to be. You can't be young in this league, and you can't be young in this league and go on the road.
Are they going to be young next year as well, Dave?
Because they'll be a little older.
Because I think next year is the year they're pointing to.
A little, because they're going to lose a bunch of those guys off defense, off that defensive line. And here's the thing about it. He still has a few of them scragglers. You got Bryson Eason. I think he's the guy that came in with Pruitt.
Yeah.
They got, that Moy kid, and he's a transfer, but he's a senior. The West kid, the Bailey kid, those guys are all be gone. And Joseph will be gone, the defensive end. It's just, I started looking at that, and I thought, oh, that's concerning.
Count them up on the rosters for me. I'd be curious. I'll publish that if you'll do the work for us, and I'll even give Dave a byline. Email it to me, please.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Since it's an interesting
because I figure they're kind of the worst team in the league. I mean, they weren't last year, but I just kind of thought, well, how many does Vandy have? And then I counted up Vandy's 2 deep upperclassmen, 33, and we have 18. That's
18's tough in this league. That's tough.
You're gonna be rolling out a lot of freshmen and sophomores on it. And most of those guys, like Dr. Sinclair said, most of those guys don't have any experience, Tony.
And 18 and 2 of them are hurt. That's another thing. So you're
well,
down
well, where it's really impacted, as Dave is alluding to, is the fact that you're not throwing out 22 guys at the beginning of the season and they're finishing the year.
That's right, Sean.
So if it doesn't matter who you got 22, but who are your 44? Because kids aren't going to make it. Kids are going to get tired. Kids are going to get discouraged. I hate to say it. Kids are going to stay on in the training. They're going to stay, quote unquote, injured, so they don't have to go out there. Yes, that happens. If things start to turn, a little negatively, who's going to be on the field?
Well, I was
when your backups are true freshmen or maybe even third year guys, great, but they have no experience.
But there's a few.
What does that look like?
There's a few redshirt sophomores, but they don't have any experience. But it's a tough league to be young in. It just is
brutal. It's to Sean's point, it's a tough sport to be young in because I can push you off that spot if I'm bigger than you and I'm older than you. I can take you and push you off that spot. And it's a game about, hey, I got to get to that spot. Whether I'm on the perimeter, and I got to make a tough catch in traffic, whether I'm, on the perimeter and I'm trying to make a play at a quarterback, whether I'm a offensive tackle, whether I'm a guard, whether I'm a center, whether I'm an interior lineman. If I'm older and I'm more experienced and I've been in the trenches and you haven't, I'm going to push you around a little bit. It's like part of the deal.
A less talented cornerback that's a third or fourth year, I don't care if he plays at Alabama or UTC, he's going to make life tough for a 4-star freshman wide receiver at Tennessee.
Yep.
It's just the way it works.
Yep. He knows how to manipulate space. He knows how to use a boundary. He knows how
to
run him in. He knows how to use his hands.
Strong enough.
That's right. That's right.
Right. The aberration, the whole thing about Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams, totally two different body types. Those guys aren't running around every year.
Those guys are unicorns, man.
They made it look too easy.
Yep. Those dudes don't exist. And then some of the young guys that Alabama, Sean, used to have, they would introduce them, but they would throw them around veteran players if you watch what Saban was doing. So you would have two guys that are going to the NFL next year and then two young guys right there just right with them blending in. But it wasn't like what Ohio State did last year with that Smith guy. Well, again, they had a kid go 9 or 10 or 11 in the draft, somewhere like that. The other guy, I forget his name, but
Here's the thing, and I'm not cracking it all. I truly am not. I love all volunteers. I truly do.
I want to see them win.
I love them. But what became apparent is when you take a look at, did any of our offensive linemen get drafted? I don't think they did from this past year. And these guys that were there 3 and 4 years starters. And then, again, not cracking on them. But then those guys, I think most of them will have an opportunity for free agency. They will. It'll be interesting to see if any of them stick. But the bottom line is, those guys didn't get drafted, and then their backups didn't even play. That's real concerning to me.
Back to our phones we go, 865-200-5402. Again, party discipline. I'm hoping for the best this year. Let's get our next call in. You're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, morning, Tony. Mike from Portland.
Hey, great talk to you, Mike, in beautiful Portland, Oregon.
No, it's been crazy. Hey,
how are our Timbers? How are our Timbers doing so far?
They're mediocre. They've had a pretty good little run, but they're about 50-50. I think they're going to be. I think they'll make the playoffs this year versus last year where they were just a disaster. They have a new coach.
Nice. I like seeing that stadium full. I love seeing that stadium full. And one of these days, Mike, I'm going to get up there and see a game with you. I promise.
I promise, because Tony, I will take care of you. I'll get us in.
I promise,
I'll
man.
I'll do what I got to do to help to get you over here, because you'll love it. You'll appreciate it.
I
You're
love
an
it.
MLS guy.
I go back to the old
simple
NASL. Hey, I got on my wall. I got an old North American Soccer League pennant from the 70s right on my wall behind me, Mike, in Portland. Reminds me of my friend, like you and my friends in Portland.
I saw that on the YouTube, and by the way,
Yeah.
the YouTube broadcast is good and way overdue on the deal. You need to mention that more and more.
Thank you, brother.
That's
Thank
a
you.
growing deal.
It's thank you.
And so anyway, just a couple of things. You do the best overall sports. Most broadcasters just cover football, basketball, whatever. But thank you so much for doing some women's tennis and Burke and all those guys on the tennis team and other sports. You have the best guests, and I tell you what, your guest hosts are par excellence. Those guys do a great job.
Our team is so good. I'm so blessed. Like we were texting with each other today, and Sean was like, I'm so blessed to be on this show. As I was telling him the lineup, and I'm like, man, I'm so blessed to have you and to have all the people that we're surrounded by, and that's just been God's put great people around me throughout the years to kind of hold me up, man.
And you even have really good callers, unless they're drunk after a Tennessee football loss.
Those are the best. Those are the best.
Hey, so here's my deal, just real quick. So I think that this coming year, I think there's going to be more pressure on Heupel than there ever has been, because coaches that come, go, and kept, and the portal situation. And there was a poll released, and we weren't even in the top 25, I think, on one poll that came out about way too early poll. But do you think this year, because of the situation, that this Heupel will be under the most pressure he's ever been at UT, or he's going to get a pass? What do you guys think?
You know, it's something we'll talk about during the summer. My inclination of it right now is that as long as it's not super, super, super ugly, in other words, 4 wins, 5 wins, something like that, I think he's going to get pretty much a Texas El Paso, because I think Sean's right. I think the narrative is going to turn to Nico being the cause of this, and you can always hide in that. And if it does turn poorly, hopefully that turns out to be an accurate description, because at some point, whether it's this season or next season, this head coach has to own what's happened on the field, just like people like me that are concerned have to own the fact that, hey, he's won 10 games twice, and that is true. That's why I acknowledge this guy is a very good football coach. The problem now is, though, and I'm just looking out the windshield here and reading the tea leaves, you got to be so much more than a football coach these days. You got to be attuned to it. You got to be beating the bushes for the money. You got to be really, really working the boosters the way Rick Barnes is. And I'm telling you something, man. Rick Barnes is working over these boosters now. He's worked them over in the offseason.
So Tony, that gets to the point of whether Tennessee should have a GM or not, kind of deal. But that's a whole different discussion for months down the line. But you've heard a little bit of that, whether they should bring a GM in to help Heupel out with the administration and the NIL stuff.
It's going to be really curious. I think that Tennessee right now is really getting ready for the House case, and it might have impacted what they did in the spring portal from being more conservative than they would have been, whereas in other sports, I mean, again, Barnes, as a run-up, and in basketball, a lot of these teams, and even in football, a lot of these teams got super aggressive at this deadline and spent. And like Sean was talking about, Texas might bring a $35 to $40 million payroll into this deal, which is just crazy to think about. Just crazy.
Yep. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Go Timbers. Go Vols.
Thank you, my brother. Yep. I'm looking forward. I'm gonna go down July 5 and get down and see my Philadelphia Union in Nashville, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's a lot of fun. You know, I can bet on that MLS stuff on the new VIP Play app that's about to drop any moment now. Friends at VIP Play, 200 leagues to wager on, all your favorite types of bets. The term live now is used in the betting space, but you've never experienced live always, and you're about to at VIP Play. Also, they're going to do a VIP Players Club sweepstakes. That's going to be going on constantly with various promotions, engaging with you and taking care of you. And the great Will Heflin is a super server to the superstars, and you'll get to know him as well. So shout out VIP Play Will Heflin. Every bet you play on VIP Play is going to get you entries. They're going to do monthly sweepstakes. It's amazing. Also, they have a bet assured in Tennessee with VIP guarantee. Head over to their website, learn more about that. It's VIPplayapp.com, and the app is about to drop. Will let me see behind the scenes the other day, and let me tell you something. It's pretty wild. Some of the things this app's capable of. Now, I asked Will, I said, well, that thing cooked me lunch. And he said, when we get it, you'll have to download it and find out. But it looks like that thing can do a little bit of everything. Cinco and Bry, any other thoughts for us? And Sean, my thing with Josh Heupel is I always preface everything that I say. I think the guy is an excellent coach. And Sean, if I didn't think the guy was an excellent coach and I thought he was a turd, you know me. I'd call him a turd. You know me, Cinco. I'd say this guy's a turd, he ain't going to make it. I would never say that about this guy. This guy needs help, though. I'm telling you, this dude needs help. Period, end of sentence. And I hope they give it to him. I hope they give it to him because I think he's an excellent football coach.
I want to mention Brew McCoy, who's decided to medically retire from football.
Yep.
And we want to thank him and wish him the best.
Yep. Really came here, was a great team leader, was everything that you would want a player to be. And like Sean said earlier, that's a guy who will come back for all the reunions. That's a Vol for life. Good for Brew McCoy. Hello and welcome in to our next call on your TLD Logistics hotline on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. You're on the air. Hi. Go right ahead. You're on the air. I hear something in the background there. You're on the air if you choose to be. The mic is open. I hear you breathing. I hear you moving. I hear you knocking. And you can come in. Who made that, Sean? I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Hello? I hear birds. I hear the birds. I hear the dog and the butterfly in the background. Sean, were you a big Heart guy? Do you like old Ann and Nancy Wilson and some of their stuff, Cinco? Because Dog and Butterfly is a great tune. Key of A. Cinco, you're muted. What happened to Cinco? Oh, he's out. Brian, I love you. It's been an incredible time today. Thank you for shouting out Brew McCoy. Happy birthday, Dewey Warren. Reach out to Dewey today. Wish him a happy birthday. Maybe we'll take a score on the Friday show in honor of the great Dewey Warren. 80 years young today. Congrats, Dewey. Hope you enjoy the day. Any other final thoughts, Briny boy? Thank you. Incredible job by you. I want to thank my friends at TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. My name's T to the B. I appreciate you. Thanks for being there. G to the B to the O. We love you. God bless. Go Vols, go. All that good stuff. Take the vote. Dog and the Butterfly. It's a good little jam. I'll tell you what. That Ann Wilson can flat out sing, man. Whew. You talk about somebody that could belt out some rock and roll. I kind of respect a little old heart. I like a little old heart. Now, the problem with a lot of classic rock is they only play 4 or 5 songs by these people and you get burned out on them. Robert Plant has a good take on that. He says, you know, He was talking about Zeppelin one time, and he said, our catalog is so big, and yet, he said, no matter what town I'm in, I'm listening to classic rock stations, they play 3 of our songs. I've never understood. I grew up in the day of album-oriented rock where the DJ could literally take whatever they wanted and play it. Like old WMMR in Philly, you'd hear